Liebe Zuschauer, herzlich willkommen zu Inside Wall Street vom Parkett der New York Stock Exchange. Ich bin Manuel Koch und bei mir ist Doreen Mogavero of Mogavero, Lee & Co. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Doreen, the markets are, of course, watching the earnings season. What do you make out of this? Most of the companies can beat the expectations.
Well, I think we're seeing a lot more mixed earnings than I think had been anticipated. You know, I thought people were anticipating that this would be a good earnings season, not a great earnings season, and I think it's turning out to be good, but maybe not quite as good as we had hoped. So to that end, I think you're seeing the market sell off a little bit and people taking some profits.
Where do you see the issues for the earnings season? On the revenue side?
Well, I mean, that seems to be where most of the people are falling short. Cost cutting and all that seems to continue, and that seems to be what's driving the better earnings. So I would have to agree with that, yes. And that speaks to the condition of the economy, the revenue side. So I think that's where people are getting a little nervous.
But we see companies cutting the costs already for months and quarters. Is there an end soon, and we will see?
Well, I mean, Meredith Whitney was just out recently saying that she thinks the worst of the layoffs are still to come. So, I think that there is a feeling that there will be more cost cutting, going on globally, I believe.
My feeling is that the Wall Street here is always so positive thinking, even when we see negative economic data. What's your point of view?
Well, I think, of course, we always like to be positive, more so than negative. However, I do think that the U.S. equity market is one of the safe havens globally at this point in time. So I think that companies still, overall have very strong balance sheets and are in very good shape. So I think that's really what's driving the market here. I think, we're at very lofty levels. These are the highs that we've seen in some stocks, all-time highs. So it's not unusual to see that people will want to take a pause, in the face of the economic situation that we have.
1 week ago, we saw disappointing numbers, for example, Intel, IBM. Now we saw some positive data from Apple and Facebook. Do you think the technology sector is like a mixed bag? We see better and worse numbers?
I think every sector, for a long time, this market has really been about picking the right stocks. I think that even as the market has gotten to these levels, not every stock has not participated. So I think it continues to be that way. When you have an economy the way we have, and a disconnect between the actual U.S. economy, which is not doing as well as the stock market is doing, I think you always have a situation where you've got to be very mindful of the stocks that you pick. You can't just pick sectors. Usually best in breed probably is your best bet, right?
Which sectors are, anyway, interesting for you at the moment?
Well, I think it depends on what you're looking for in your investment, but I'd have to say that the ones that are the most beaten up give you the chance as they recover for the biggest return. So I think financials, aside from their heavy weighting in the indices, are one of the major sectors that people are looking at in terms of being undervalued. So
the earnings season is still going on. Do you expect anything new next week? Will we see and hear better numbers, or is it still the same, a mixed bag?
I think it's going to be a mixed bag all the way around. And that's what the consensus is on the street. As a trader, I speak to a lot of people, not necessarily research analysts, more traders. So their opinions are based on what they're hearing in their firms and, what their analysts are saying. We don't have an analyst at my firm, so, I think it's a mixed bag of opinions that I'm getting, so I'll have to assume that's what's going to be.
We will see next week the numbers of the NYSE too on Wednesday, and maybe the merger is coming soon with the ICE. Do you hear any news here on Wall Street?
Well, I think that we're all very excited about the merger. I think it gives us an opportunity for new products and a new way of thinking. So I think that we are very hopeful that this is going to be a great merger. From all I've heard, everybody is very happy about it. So,
do you think it will change something here on the floor?
Well, I don't know. I think that the floor in the way it stands now is really in pretty good shape. We've really come a long way in terms of technology. So I would be interested to see what improvements we think that ICE thinks we can make.
Also, next week we will see the unemployment data. Do you expect any surprises?
No, I don't know. I also don't expect anything really to move the markets. I think that the labor situation in this country is something that still is a very weak point. We haven't created enough jobs, and I think that's why President Obama was out earlier this week, speaking about it, because I think there has to be a concentration on jobs.
And it's also important for the policy of the Fed.
Yes, I think it's important for everything. Most important is important for the people that need to get jobs.
So when we will talk again next week, do you think the market will be up or down?
Oh, if I had a crystal ball, I could answer that question. I don't know. I think you're going to see a lot of consolidation in the market here, and probably lighter volumes going into the end of the summer. So wait till the fall to really make a decision.
So up or down?
I have no way of knowing that.
All right, Doreen Mogavero, thank you so much for joining us, for your time. Und Ihnen, liebe Zuschauer, Dankeschön fürs Zuschauen. Bis bald hier vom Parkett der New York Stock Exchange. Mehr Informationen auf www.drf.fm.